Hello, in this video we're going to look at shading. So I've got my 4B pencil, a HB pencil and a 2B pencil. Alright, and each pencil will give a certain amount of lightness. Now I'm just simply moving down and up like a sawtooth sort of shape, but really quickly and kind of overlapping to a point like that. And as you get to get fast at this, you have to have quite a loose hand and a little bit of strain or stress in your shoulder to really get that quick speed. And gradually I can pull my hand off the paper, and I'm kind of just leveraging my hand up the way with the pinky and the finger there. I'm just leveraging up as I go, so I can be pushing down with these fingers to start with. And as I've moved to the right, I'm just gradually coming off the page. Okay, so that's a HB pencil. 2B pencil. Gradually less weight, and that's that. And a 4B pencil. So you see the 4B is able to get quite a good bit darker. I'll lean heavy for the end there, heavy for the 2B, and heavy for the 1B. When I say heavy, I'm more or less just going over the same area until there's a lot of pencil in that bit of the paper. When drawing, you want to keep very loose. You don't want to be drawing like this, full weight sort of thing. You want to be like this, then using a little bit of line weight to show those edges, and just leave the working in, leave those little things in. If you want, start it with a HB because it's a lot lighter, then use a 2B or a 4B to show those edges. And the first little curve that I make is quite heavy, and then I just kind of pull it off to one side a little bit softer, so like a little flick, so it's gradually getting lighter, a bit like this, where it's a little bit darker at the top. So you're creating your line and then kind of just going over the top bit until you've got that line weight. Okay, also when you're drawing, think about the angles that you see. So when you draw a cylinder and you're looking at it front on, you might think to yourself, well, that's what it looks like front on, but nothing would really look that way unless it was orthographic, like there was no angle to the camera. What you're likely going to get is some kind of arc at the bottom, and maybe the top is flat because that's at your eye level. But as things move away from your eye level, they start to show a slightly different shape for perspective, and what you'll get is the lines in between those gradually converging. So it's straight, a little bit bent, a little bit more bent until it meets the angle of the bottom. And that's a typical little oil barrel there. Now if you're shading it in, you're going to have what's called a core shadow. That is the area of the shadow that's the darkest, and it usually lives just to one side in most cases, because there's some light gets round to the other side because it bounces off the wall and comes back to that side of it. So I've gone for a 4B and I've done full weight with the 4B. I'm going to switch to the 2B. I'm going to turn the page just to make it easier to do this because I'm comfortable moving at this angle at speed, and I'm just going to go over those areas and more so to the right, and I'm going to overlap the one that I did. Now less pressure in my hand, now even less pressure in my hand. I'm going to do that for each of these. You see when I go over it again, it gets a little bit darker. And if I want to really push that towards this black without it being so stark, I'll just go over a little bit more pressure. And I'll go over the whole thing again, trying to match that top pressure. Let's do the bottom one. just a little bit more. So I'm finding it hard to get a darker tone with the 2B pencil, so I'm going to switch to the 4B and just kind of just go over lightly here, because I know the 4B is quite strong. It's quite good at getting dark, and I just want to kind of match that darkest tone just a little bit more. Right, so I've got some sort of shading there. Now instead of actually shading in the object, you can shade in the background around it. So you do a little kind of line to show where you're going to go, and then you're just going to carry off. Just carry off and gradually get lighter as you go away from it. Right, and now I've got a nice rim light to my barrel here, and because most of the light's coming from here, I guess my shadow is going to be this way, so I'll just do a sort of shape like this where it meets the base, and I'll just lightly colour it in. I don't need a really dark shadow, I just want something there, because there's a lot of light in this room bouncing around, if you imagine. And not all of this is getting really dark, just nice and soft. Okay, so I don't really see the top lid or anything like that, but I could put the little cap in there just to help sort of sell it as a barrel, and maybe even a little bit of a rim at the top there like that. Right, I need to shade in these bits, so I'm just going to kind of do a little kind of curve like that, and again I just need to follow it round softer with the pencil. Eventually I can switch to the 2B because it does lighter tones. I might want to go to the side because I'll get a nice flat tone. If I try and shade with it like this, it's a bit scratchy, but if it's more on the side, it's softer looking, and I might not get exactly what I want, so what I'll do is I'll just use the pencil for a while until it gets kind of worn down a bit. So as I'm using it, it's getting worn down, and I just kind of use it until it feels the right roughness. My hand's feeling the feedback from the pencil, you know, the kind of scratchiness of it or how soft it is, and just like that. You can put in some bit here like this as well. We're going to use a little bit of line weight. So line weight is you just choose a little corner that's going to have a little bit of darkness to it, and all you do is just knock that in like that, and then just blend softly to, you know, the little bit of pencil work next to it. Right, and actually you've got another kind of edge to this. I'll just leave this side white because it's kind of, the line weight here's got a job to do. This bit here's got a job to do to make this side stand out. The core shadow's doing some work and the base shadow's doing some work. So I just want to blend out this side bit. So I'll use my HB on its side and just kind of be really controlled. Right, I'll just go for a cross hatch, so I'm just going to go this way and go even further, but overlap. Let's go for the 2B just to make sure that I'm blending properly. And that's pretty much it. Now if you wanted to cross hatch shade, a 2B pencil is pretty decent, and all you do is just very soft with the pencil, right? Start making little parallel dashes, and then you come in a bit, so you'll leave this kind of section here, come in a bit and start going this way, right? And then you can go down the way and stop after a point. So you basically got 3 tones. Now you can do 4. You can basically go up, across, diagonal. So you just choose what you want to do. So I'll carry on this bit. Right. You can also use spacing as well to get a lighter tone. So I'll leave that bit. Then I'll use verticals and leave that bit, and then horizontals just a bit there. And that's usually enough for cross hatching. You don't have to do much more, but that's a nice effect if you get good at that, doing that really small. you can get, you know, nice cross-hatching effect. And then again, you can just throw the odd line out there just to make it look cool. You know, and get different kind of brightnesses and little marks and things. So if you wanted to do this whole thing bottom to top, sort of cross-hatching, you just go over the same line quite a lot and gradually just increase the spacing. I'm using the same pressure, but I'm just increasing the spacing. Get a tiny bit lighter with the pressure, tiny bit. So pressure's the same, tiny bit lighter, and you've got a nice sort of gradient effect. And you can also go up the way. It's important to draw the way that things are going. You don't want to draw down the way for this. And there you go. Again, if you want to make something stand out, you just darken the background. And it's just a little sample of a background. You don't have to draw anything in there, just darkening it so if it's kind of blurred out and it's dark. And that makes this whole object stand out. As long as you keep the background the same colour as the edge. You don't want to have a big bold edge, you know, like this, because it just kind of looks like thickness or something. But if I did do that, I would have to darken the background again even more. It's important to stay light with your pencil so you've got more room to go darker later if you need it. Just keeping your shadows just on the inside is a good idea. Another thing to practice is drawing a shape and doing one stroke to make the roundness of it. Doing these kind of exercises will get you used to seeing things in a kind of 3D form. Okay, so that's pretty much for this lesson. Have a look at shading with your HB, 2B and 4B pencils. This is just some old tacky paper, but it does give some nice results. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.